If you have a garden, then you probably need to water it during the summer. And watering is fun if you like to play with water, but sometimes you want to automate things. Today we're going to look at the latest Sonoff device, and that is the Zigbee water valve. That also has a nice feature of water meter. We'll start in a couple of seconds. I think that last or 2 years ago I created another video on the Zigbee water valve that can be used to water your garden or water your lawn or something similar. Today we'll be looking at the latest Sonoff device that actually does the same thing. But this one, unlike the other, has a nice feature, and that is the water meter. Unfortunately, this year I wasn't able to access the garden that I used for recording of that video, but still I managed to test a lot of the things. But one thing I wasn't able to test, that is the water metering functionality of this device. So I will have to trust Sonoff on that one, and you will have to trust me on trusting Sonoff on that one. I don't see a reason for this not to work. But of course bear in mind that this is not a scientific device, so when it says 1 liter it can actually be a bit more or a bit less. I don't have data on how accurate the device is. And as always we will be looking at 3 ways on how to integrate it. First we will look at the Sonoff original eWeLInk app, then we will look at the ZHA in Home Assistant, and the last thing will be of course Zigbee to MQTT that can be used with Home Assistant but also with some other smart control software. The box of the device is similar to other boxes. Orange represents the Zigbee device. At least this is what I think it is representing, because most of the devices that Sonoff makes that arrive in orange boxes are actually Zigbee controllable devices. Inside, yes, you will get the valve. But besides valve, you also get the Teflon tape that can be used to seal off the valve when installing it on a water line. While my apartment building does have pretty large garden, unfortunately my Zigbee network doesn't have that big reach. The signal simply doesn't go through 4 or 5 floors of the reinforced concrete. So yeah, unfortunately, no B-rolls this time. There is only one thing you need to do to get this device working, and that is of course to install the batteries. You will need 4 AA batteries, and I did manage to run this device out of 4 AA rechargeable IKEA batteries. The difference between the rechargeable and standard batteries is the voltage, and that's why even with the batteries at 100% charge, the device is showing less than 100% in Home Assistant. But we will look at that in a little bit later in the video. After you install 4 batteries, check that you have aligned pins on the battery holder with the pins in the inside of the device, press fit them in, and the light on device should start blinking. This only happens first time since the device is at the pairing state when you insert the batteries for the first time. After that, of course, it will remember that it was paired and it will not blink. If you want or if you need to enter the pairing mode once again, just press and hold the button until the green LED starts to blink. When we have already started the pairing process, go to your eWeLInk app if you want to use it with the eWeLInk. In the eWeLInk, click on plus sign, scan to scan the QR code, click on Add Device. You will be presented with a screen showing you how to remove the battery compartment and that you need to install 4 AA batteries. Next it will tell you to insert the battery slot in device until it snaps, power on device if you need, and long press the button for 5 seconds. Check that LEDs are flashing slowly, select the bridge that you want to use, and the device should be paired in a couple of seconds. In the list of known devices, we now have SWV, which is the name of this device, where we can toggle the switch. When the switch is in the off state, the water doesn't flow, and when the switch is in the on state, the water will start flowing. If we look at the device specifics, we see that we have here option to select either schedule or capacity. These two are very similar but different types of schedules. One allows you to schedule it based on time, and the other one allows you to schedule based on capacity, or how many liters have been dispensed. So for example, we can send 10 liters, and after water has flown for 10 liters, it will stop it. Then you also set number of irrigation times or cycles and also interval between each of the cycles. In device settings you have all the basic information, you can configure it to work with if this then that, etc. Plus check the latest firmware, and more or less this should be it. Now let's look at what you can do inside the Home Assistant. Of course, first we will start with ZHA. In the integrations page, click on Add Integration, Add Zigbee Device, and the ZHA should now be in the pairing state. Press and hold the button on device for 5 seconds until it starts to blink, the ring, and in a couple of seconds, Home Assistant or ZHA should be able to detect the device and the pairing will start. And here it is. Select an area, and if we go back into the list of devices, we see that we have a new device here. As I mentioned, the battery is not at full state. And this is with the 100% charged rechargeable batteries from IKEA. Because there is a voltage difference between the rechargeable and the standard batteries. That's why some devices will actually not even operate if you try to use rechargeable batteries instead of normal ones. If we click on Sonoff SWV, we don't see that much here. We have ability to turn it on or let the water flow, turn it off or stop the water flow. We can check if the firmware is up to date. We have battery information, identify which we can press to identify the device, plus of course, as always, 2 hidden entities, LQI and RSSI. Now, if you would want to create automations in Home Assistant, you can start with the simple automations or you can create more complex ones. For example, 30 minutes after sunset, we turn on the water valve so the water starts to flow or irrigate our garden. When we click run, you should hear a solenoid valve inside going off. That means that the watering has started to flow. But we also need additional automation that would stop the water flow. This one will be triggered when the water starts flowing or when it gets in the on state, and it is in that on state for 30 minutes. After it is triggered or after this condition in the trigger is met, we use the service call to turn the valve off. This way you have 2 automations. One is to trigger when you need to water your garden, and it starts half an hour after the sunset, or it can be 2 hours after the sunset, or 2 hours before the sunrise. It all depends on you. And the next one will wait for 30 minutes for watering to be finished, and then it will close the valve. Of course, you can create more complex. You can check the weather forecast and see if any rainfall is predicted for today. If it is, then skip the automation, etc., etc. So it's all up to you to create more specific automations that will fit your use case. If you need help with them or if you would like me to create a separate video on things like that, drop me a line down in the video description. But now let's check if it works, how it works, and what we can do in Zigbee to MQTT. Let's start with clicking Permit Join inside Zigbee to MQTT. And of course, make sure the device is in the pairing mode. For that, once again, click and hold the button for 5 seconds. And the pairing should start very fast. That's it. If we click on device, we can see all the information for this device. And that is the image of the device, when it was last seen, availability, this is end device, so it's not router, other devices will not attach to it. It needs either other routers or coordinated network. We have Zigbee module, manufacturer, description of the device, is it supported or not? Yes, it's supported. Network address, firmware build date, firmware version, manufacturer, and the model. If you click on the model, it will open a Zigbee to MQTT database for the devices where you can see what you can do with this device or what are the entities that are available. We see that we have flow, battery, current device status, switch or the state, cyclic timed irrigation, cyclic quantitative irrigation, and link quality. As you can see, a little bit more than with the ZHA. You can read more about each of those entities inside the documentation. But I would really recommend that you read at least about the cyclic timed irrigation and cyclic quantitative irrigation. That way you can create automations directly in Zigbee to MQTT or semi-directly in Zigbee to MQTT that would be triggered based on whatever. For example, if the device goes in the on state, if you are using timed irrigation, it will then use this timed value, for example, 200 seconds or 2000 seconds, and after this timer has expired, it will automatically turn the water off. So this is a timed irrigation based on how long the valve was open. And it's done directly on device, no automation is actually needed. You just need to trigger it in the on state, and this parameter will take over. Then we have cyclic quantitative irrigation. That one is actually doing the same thing but with the liters of water. So for example, when the valve turns on, it will start measuring the flow or the liters of the water, and you say you want to stop it after 10 liters, 50 liters, 100 liters. And when the meter valve reaches that value, it will automatically close the valve. That means that you do not have to create complex automations. The valve itself will handle the shutoff either based on the time or based on the quantity. But yeah, let's look at the exposed entities. First is the flow. This will tell you the current flow of the water in meter cubic per hour. So for example, 10 meter cubics per hour is the current water flow. Then we have information about the battery. Once again, the batteries are full, but they are at 75% charge. Then we have current device status. It can have a couple of states, and for that, once again, we'll jump back to documentation. This state will tell you if the device can operate or not. If it's in the normal state, it means that even if the valve is closed, there is water pressure inside and you can water your garden. When there is no water pressure, it will tell you water shortage. That means that there is no water in the system or in the device itself. Then there is a water leak, and I presume that water leak works in such a way that it detects when the pressure starts to fall. So if it detects that the pressure has started to fall, it means that there is a fault with the valve itself, since the water is there but the pressure is changing. But again, as I wasn't able to test this in my house and get a good reception with the Zigbee network, I only know about the water shortage. State on and off tells us if the valve is closed or open. If in off state, it is closed, and in on state, it is open. Then I mentioned that we have cyclic timed irrigation and cyclic cumulative irrigation. For example, we want to have 2 cycles, 10 liters each, and the intervals between the irrigations, let's say that we want 6,000 seconds. If we apply it, that means that the system will go through 2 cycles. First cycle, 10 liters, stop, then it will wait for 6,000 seconds, then do the second cycle, again 10 liters, and then stop, and it will finish. Or for time irrigation, we can do same thing, for example, 3 cycles, each lasting 120 seconds, and 6,000 seconds in between each of the cycles. Let's change the name of the device and let's see how it works in Home Assistant. In Home Assistant, you see entities that you can later on use in your automations. We have the switch itself. Is it turned off or on? So if the water is flowing or not. Then we have information on current device state. Currently it's at water shortage. We have information about the cyclic quantitative irrigation, cyclic time irrigation. Both are set at none because currently nothing is going on. And we have also flow information that you can, for example, use in your automations. For example, if you hook this up to a pump and the water flow starts to fall below certain meter cubics per hour, you can stop the automation. You have information about the firmware, battery state, and 4 hidden entities, binary sensor, is there is update available or no, when was the device last seen, link quality, and the update state. So what is the big thing about this device? As I said, for me, the killer feature that this device has, and the other one that I tested and later given away doesn't have, is the water metering. It can detect how many liters have flown through the device, and it can also detect flow rate. And because of these additional sensors, for example, current device state that tells you if the state is normal, if there is a water shortage, or if there is a water leak, you can have extra benefits to your automations, or you can get extra notifications. So for example, if you're out and traveling and you left your home for 1 month, you set up everything, you receive notification that there is a water shortage. Then you would know that even if the automations would have triggered, they haven't been triggered because there is no water. And based on that, you can make or change your travel plans. At the time when this video was recorded, I unfortunately still haven't had a link to this device, so I do not know what will be the end price of this device. But if this device is priced right, I do think that this device has enough features, so if you still haven't invested in your garden to smarten things up, you definitely should look at this device. On the other hand, I'm also looking forward to test this device in the future when I will be able to access this device from my apartment via the Zigbee network to test how it works, because even our yard has a watering system, but it's currently manual. I really do hope that you did enjoy this video, and if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, because it not just means a lot to me, but it also tells YouTube that the video was good and the other people should also see it. If you have any kind of a comment or a question, you can as always ask it down in the comment section below, and I really would like to hear your opinion. What do you think about this device? And before I wrap up the video, I also want to say thanks to all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who has watched, shared, liked or commented on my videos. Please keep doing so in the future. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Last but not least, as always, you can send me super thanks, and I really will be super thankful for that. I'll be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have fun.